following program is sponsored. The opinions and statements made by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect the views of WBOB or its parent company, the Chesapeake Portsmouth Broadcasting Corporation.
WBOB AM 600 The Answer is proud to present Toula's Tips for Caregivers. Help is on the air with Toula Wooten, your source to go for resources and information to help you in this rewarding but sometimes challenging role. To participate in today's show, call 904-222-TALK. That's 904-222-8255. Now here's Toula.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my show on this beautiful Thanksgiving weekend morning. I hope each of you had a good Thanksgiving on Thursday and had the time to sit back and relax and truly give thanks for the things that you are blessed for in your life. We all have so many reasons to be thankful these days, and that's what's going to be the focus of my show today. I am truly blessed myself to have a couple of guests with me who are going to reflect on their impressions and their memories as a caregiver and give thanks. But before I introduce them, I'd like to tell any first-time listeners just a little bit about myself. My name is Toula Wooten, and I've been the radio show host here for this show, Toula's Tips for Caregivers, since the summer of 2009. Long time, folks, every Saturday morning trying to come to you to support and care for caregivers in the Northeast Florida area, and of course now due to technology and the website and everything that we have, caregivers everywhere. It is my goal to be here with you, to support you, to offer you resources that you may not be aware of, to give you that assistance that you might need, and to truly be a caregiver buddy to you, because I also am a caregiver. I have been a caregiver for my parents for really a number of years, but it sort of ramped up, if you will, in 2013 and has stayed ramped all during that time, as elderly parents do what you would expect, and that is get older and decline. So I'm right there with you. So if you're listening today and you want to call in and offer any advice or offer any words of wisdom or give your own reflection of things that you are thankful for as a caregiver, because there are lots of things to be thankful for, I hope you will call in at 904-222-8255. You know, again, that is going to be the focus today, because in this caregiving role, we do have lots of challenges. There are lots of things that come our way, obstacles, if you will, that can make it difficult. It can be an exhausting role. It can take so much out of you emotionally and spiritually and physically and, yes, financially, that, you know, sometimes we focus just too much on all of that. And so today, our goal is to focus on the things that we really are thankful for and the sweet moments that are a part of caregiving. My two guests have already called in. Chris MacLellan is also a radio show host for the show Healing Ties Radio, and he is an author of a book called What's the Deal with Caregiving, and he, too, cared for a loved one for a length of time. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Well, greetings, Toula. It's great to be back on your show.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to have you here, and looking forward to seeing you in a few days.
Yeah.
And then I have our mutual friend, Joni Aldrich, who also is a radio show host. You know, there's a number of us out there trying to care for caregivers through the radio waves. Joni is the author of several books, and her latest one, called Advocacy Heals You, is one everyone should pick up and read, because it truly does talk about, if you've been through hard times, and let's face it, who hasn't, advocacy and helping others and reaching out can truly help you. So welcome to the show, Joni.
Thank you, Toula. Thanks so much for having Chris and I on the show, and it's always good to catch up with both of you, and I hope that we can enlighten your listening audience today and give them some different perspectives on being thankful as a caregiver.
Well, I appreciate that. I know that this is a busy weekend for all of us. It is Thanksgiving weekend, and so I do appreciate the two of you taking the time out today to call in. And, you know, I thought the three of us, and if Amy Goyer has time to call in today, she may or may not. It's her birthday, so she's off the hook if she doesn't have time. But you know, the three of us have been involved for years as a caregiver. And so I thought I'd just have a roundtable discussion with you, and I'll be happy to kick it off just to talk about some of the things that I am thankful for as a caregiver. As I mentioned, I have been caring for my parents for quite some time now, and yes, it does have its struggles. It certainly has its emotional roller coasters, and I've hit a few of those deeps in the last few months. Again, as I've watched them age, I've hit some of the downs of the roller coaster, but as it chugs back up, I have lots of really sweet memories that I can truly reflect on. Taking care of a loved one does give you that extra time with them. It does give you those sweet moments that really nobody else has, as you're helping your loved one. For instance, just in and out of the car. My dad is becoming pretty physically weak now, and getting in and out of the car is a challenge for him. So I walk with him to the car with his walker. My husband kindly now puts it in the trunk for me all the time because I'm tired of lifting that thing in and out of the trunk. And I'm very thankful that I have that time to hold on to him, to help him get situated in the back seat. It's a struggle for him. It truly exhausts him now, getting in and out of the car. But as he sits in the back seat, I just have a minute to lean over and kiss him and say, "Daddy, you okay?" And he smiles up big at me and is so appreciative for even just those small things. So that's my first reflection. Joni and Chris, I think we have a caller on the line who is truly a guest and may have a few things to say. Do you mind if I take him?
Go for it.
Of course not.
Okay. John, welcome to the show today. We're happy to have you.
Well, thank you, Toula. I'm thankful for you, and through the years you were certainly a big help to me in your seminars and your personal interaction. And I've had the pleasure of meeting your parents, and I was calling mainly to just put out that I'm thankful to God that I had parents that took their responsibility. I can remember as far as back, I can remember that they took their responsibility as parents, and it just came natural for my brother Edgar and I to take care of them. We wanted to. They fortunately wanted it done that way, and we just had a great life going through the trials and trusting even more our Creator and leaving the consequences to Him. And I would simply say to caregivers out there that that's how I cope the best, was getting closer to the Creator who created each of us, and we worship in a different way, a lot of us, but that was combined with living in a city that has these wonderful resources you have so eloquently spoken of, was my means of coping. And I was fortunate to have parents that were so appreciative and spoke of that, but we all have our moments, and yes, those moments are going to come, and that's when we just lean on our Creator and truly leave all the consequences to Him, knowing that He knows what's best for us. That's not easy, but once you learn to do that, it helps so much.
It does, John. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to interrupt now because in a few minutes here, or in about a minute, we're going to go to a commercial break. But I did want to thank you, first of all, for calling in and for bringing up what's most important to me. And I know my other two guests today, Joni and Chris, are believers as well. And we rely on the good Lord to sustain us every morning, to give us new mercies every morning, and to give us strength every morning to do this role.
I would be remiss if I didn't say that you just don't know how. I know you realize it, but you can't fully realize it till you don't have them. You're so blessed to still have your parents.
I am. I know that, and I thank the Lord for that every day. They're 82 and 84, and I am so blessed to have them and spend this sweet time with them. We'll be right back, guys. You're listening to Toula's Tips for Caregivers on AM 600 and FM 100.3. We'll be right back after this sponsor break, and thank you, John.
Toula's Tips for Caregivers is proudly sponsored by Agewell Institute at Baptist Health, by the AARP, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, and by Claim Medic. Are you burdened with a loved one's medical bills and confused about who and how much to pay? Are there medical claims that have been denied? When you work with Claim Medic, they review your bills for accuracy every month and deal directly with your insurance company to make sure you receive every benefit that you pay for and never pay a bill that you don't owe. At Claim Medic, they offer free audits of up to 3 years of past medical bills to identify any past billing errors and recover overpayments you may have made. And their monthly bill review service will ensure that future bills are accurate before you pay. With Claim Medic as your personal medical claims specialist, you can focus on what matters most, the health and comfort of your loved one, and rest easy knowing that their medical bills are managed by experts who care. Ready to start? Call 888-988-2985 to speak with a specialist or visit ClaimMedic.com. That's 888-988-2985. With Claim Medic on your side, you'll never pay a medical bill you don't owe.
Hi, this is Toula, and I'm here to talk to you about Baptist's new Age Well Institute. Are you caring for a loved one who's 65 or older? Are you a boomer like myself who's caring for a parent? And perhaps your parent has been experiencing some decline in their overall health. Let me highly recommend to you the Baptist Age Well Institute. They have the only real geriatrician here in Northeast Florida who is able to look at the whole person. Their comprehensive approach includes a nurse, a doctor, a social worker, a pharmacist, a dietitian. They have their own physical therapy there. They can work with folks with memory disorders. My goal is to help you, the caregiver, find an organization that can care for your loved one who's 65 or older. I take my own parents there, and I highly recommend the Age Well Institute at Baptist. Please give them a call at 904-202-4243. Again, that's 904-202-4243. You'll be so glad you did.
Have you read the new book, Love Stories and Timeless Tips yet? It's by our own Toula Wooten with Toula's Tips for Caregivers. Toula is a caregiver too, as well as an expert on caregiving. You can get it in paperback or on Kindle at Amazon.com. The book is filled with touching stories of caregivers taking care of their loved ones. Each chapter has helpful ideas that we all can use. I love that Toula included a Toula's tip with each story. Her message to caregivers is clear. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of your loved one. This is a beautiful book for all caregivers to read, whether you're a part-time, full-time, or long-distance caregiver, or someone receiving care. You should get the book today. Just go to Amazon.com. Search for Love Stories and Timeless Tips by Toula Wooten.
George, I got the job. Thanks, I'm so excited. They hired me on the spot right after the interview. It was that book I bought from Amazon, From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. The book really taught me something. It helped me to think about what the boss wants. Then it helped me with answers that show that I can do the job. I can tell they were impressed when I introduced myself. I just followed the simple outline from the Interview to the Paycheck book, and I know I won the job with my first 90 days plan the book recommended. They said no one else had ever been so prepared. You should get the book. It's on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle. It's worth it if you want to get hired. Just search for From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. Do it now.
And now let's return to Toula's Tips for Caregivers. Once again, here's Toula.
Welcome, everyone. My guests today are two colleagues and truly good friends of mine. Chris MacLellan, a radio show host for Caregivers. The show is called Healing Ties Radio. And Joni Aldrich, who has been a radio show host for Caregivers and author of several books for a long time. And we are talking about reflections of Thanksgiving, what we're thankful for as a caregiver. We do have another caller holding, but Fred, if you'll hold on for a little bit, I'd like to let Chris give a few reflections before we go to you, if that's all right.
Thank you. Yes, sure. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Chris, let's hear from you.
Well, pardon my little cold here as I sit in 30-degree temperature in Missouri, but, I think about Thanksgiving and I think about Happy Thanks caregiving because, to be entrusted with the care of another human being is really one of the greatest honors that could ever be bestowed on us. And yes, there are some difficult days. There's no doubt about that. But for somebody like myself whose caregiving journey has transitioned, I look back and I'm thankful for the experience because it is meaningful. And those difficult days, the good days far outweigh those difficult days when you sit back and you reflect on your caregiving experience. And that's why there's no greater honor than to be entrusted with the care of another human being. And you get to meet terrific people across the country like Toula and Joni.
You took my line away. I was going to say the same thing. Is that I have been so blessed to meet other caregivers who are caring for a loved one. We have a common bond. It takes a special, I'm going to say it, a special person to take on all the responsibilities that come with caregiving. And I too have been blessed to meet the two of you and Amy and people in this community who have cared for a loved one, and we have formed a kinship, a real friendship that runs deep.
Very much so, and it's what's unique about family caregivers. We all have this innate ability to understand each other, even when our caregiving journeys are a little bit different. And it's like having a big extended family. I'm just very grateful for being a family caregiver not only because of the experience of taking care of Richard, but for the friendships that have developed because of this experience, because we're also supportive of one another, and that I wish society and in general was as good as the caregiving community, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it makes a whole lot of sense. It kind of reflects on where we come from as a motive. Joni, you got anything to add to that? Because I think that makes perfect sense.
Well, I love that, and I love the way that it was said, and I think it comes back for the thing that I am most thankful for, and I hope we're not getting ready to go to a commercial break, because I thought very deeply about this. You know that Chris and I are both very deep thinkers, and I know you are too, Toula. I thought of Charles Dickens in A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, the age of foolishness. It was the season of light, the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope and the winter of despair. When I think of the caregiving journey, as it nears the holidays, I have to tell you that, for years I often wondered, well, how do people get through the holidays when they're caring for someone that they know that that's their last holiday? And for me, I never really truly appreciated it, even though I thought it. I never appreciated it until I went through it with my mother. And so when I think of the holidays, I often think that thankfulness often comes with a side dish of agony and emotional agony. And so my thinking is, and I've said this many times, that caregiving is the greatest gift that you can give to the care receiver. To me, the greatest gift that we get in return is learning and being thankful for the depth of love that you truly cannot understand except for in the trenches of caregiving.
I like that because you do come to a better understanding of the depth of love that you have for your loved one and that they have for you. And I know my caller, because I recognized his voice when he said, yes, I'll be happy to hold. I know my caller might be able to add to that. Fred, are you still there?
Yes, I am, Toula. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to hear your voice. I know you've been traveling some, so welcome back.
I just got back home last week. Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
And I know of your caregiving experience for Chris and for Joni and for my listeners. Fred is someone I met in the community through friends, really common friends, as he was caring for his dear wife, Sandy, who suffered from dementia. And Fred, I'll let you chime in because the story is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Toula. Yes, Sandy passed away on April 3rd of this year, and it was very difficult, Toula. At first, several years ago, or even a little longer, when I first started seeing signs of this, I tried to deny that it was happening. I said, well, it's just this will pass, But gradually, as time went on, and then that's when I reached out, and I think we first met because I didn't know what to do. I was desperate for help and guidance and education and what to do, and through you and many of your other friends, I was able to come up with help, at least to help me understand what my beloved Sandy was going through. And Toula, I'm just so grateful today that I've had the opportunity to spend the last months of her life with her and to be with her and caring for her. Anyone that thinks caregiving is just a casual thing, it's just it's a 24/7 job, and I just was so grateful that I had the opportunity to be with Sandy. I mean, this is the first Thanksgiving since 1969 that we hadn't been together, and we were married just almost 46 years, and she was a beautiful, beautiful woman, and it's so missed now. But I'm just grateful to God that God gave me that experience and allowed me to be with her and share her final moments and just be with her. So it's difficult. It'd be difficult through these days, through these holidays and things like that. But it's difficult every day because I miss her so much. We did so many things together and spent so much time together. It's hard at times, but I just get up each day and say this is a new day, and Sandy would want me to keep going on.
And we know that's true, Fred. And I thank you today for having the courage to call in and say these things. I know your grief is still raw. It hasn't been very long, and I know you are hurting and missing her, particularly as you mentioned over this holiday season. And
right.
I'm thankful for our new friendship and the things we've been able to share as we've talked about the people that we care for and some of the things we've gone through. And, we've got a friendship that's going to last forever.
Yes, that's true. Yes. And I'm thankful to God that he brought you and I together and that he cared for and allowed me to be part of Sandy's life. I thank God each day. I say, thank you, God, for allowing Sandy to be part of my life, and and so forth. And that makes me feel better.
It makes me feel better to hear you say that the way that you are, because I know how hard it is. And everything that you and Joni and Chris have said so far, and that I've said, is really, it just boils down to this is what you do for the people that you love. And as Joni said, you really become thankful for this deeper depth of love that you come to understand in a way that maybe you didn't quite understand.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's just, I shall just continue on. I'm just going to continue on and keep going. So, but thank you so much, Toula, for allowing me to be part of your show today. Really
thank you, Fred, for calling in, and I look forward to that next cup of coffee with you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Joni, Chris, we've all cared for someone we deeply love. Joni, I know you cared for your mother and your husband, right through the end of their lives. Chris, you cared for dear Richard right through the end of his life. Anything either you want to add after listening to Fred?
Well, Toula, I'd like to add something. This past week on Advocacy Heals You, Chris and I talked about Thanksgiving on a little different spin and the upcoming holidays and the gifts that we can give to others that don't cost money. I truly became aware of when we talk about gifts, it's not in a package. It's not under the tree. And so, what we talked about on Advocacy Heals You was how we could help others. And part of that is to help families and people such as Fred and those that are going through a difficult year.
Yep, that is truly the best gift you can give, to walk alongside someone who is going through a difficult time. Truly is the best gift. So listeners, if you're listening today and you know someone who's taking care of someone they love, reach out, help them, support them, walk alongside them. It won't cost you money, it will cost you time, and it will cost you part of your heart as you care for them. But the rewards and the blessings you get from that are immeasurable. We're getting ready to go into another break. You're listening to Toula's Tips for Caregivers. We'll be right back.
Ed Dean, Laura Ingram, Dennis Prager, The Savage Nation, Mark Love.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Obama says the U.S. is extending what he calls a hand of friendship to the Cuban people as they mourn the death of dictator Fidel Castro. In a statement, the president said that in the coming days, Cubans will, in his words, recall the past and also look to the future. And as they do, he says, the Cuban people will, quote, know that they have a friend and partner in America. Donald Trump sparing no words when it comes to Castro. The president-elect called the former Cuban leader, quote, a brutal dictator who oppressed his own people for nearly 6 decades. Trump says Castro leaves a legacy of what he called firing squads, theft, unimaginable suffering, poverty, and the denial of fundamental human rights. The Cuban government has now declared 9 days of national mourning following the death of Castro. He will be interred in a Santiago cemetery on December 4th. It was an abbreviated trading session on Black Friday on Wall Street after a day off for Thanksgiving. The Dow gained about 70 points. This is SRN News.
National Cremation Society, the nation's largest and oldest cremation company, offers a simple, dignified, affordable alternative to expensive funerals. No one wants to think about their mortality, but the reality is we're all going to die one day. 65% of Floridians choose cremation when that day comes. Don't be a burden to your family and friends. National Cremation Society allows you to pre-plan your cremation, providing you with the peace of mind of knowing everything is covered, nothing is left to chance. Learn how a plan with National Cremation Society will protect you no matter where you are in the world. Planning is easier and more affordable than you think. Call 904-346-3331 or visit us online at nationalcremation.com. That's 346-3331 or nationalcremation.com.
Men's Closet, Lem Turner Road at 295 has a motto: when you look good, they look good. Men's Closet covers proms, weddings, and all occasions. Dress wear, formal wear, clergy attire, even casual wear for men and boys. Right now, get 2 for $100 specials. 2 men's suits, 2 boy suits, or 2 leisure suits. Just $100. Black Friday sales are going on all week. Lay away your gifts for the holidays. Men's Closet, Lem Turner Road at 295, exit 32. 619-2385, 619-2385. 25 years has seen a lot of changes, but one thing hasn't changed: the quality of Copyfax, a family-owned business taking pride in their service and products. Copyfax offers easy document management to store and back up all of your business files. Copyfax is the only local distributor for the Samsung product line and services the full HP printer fleet. Your choice for multifunction office management. Update and simplify today. 904-296-1600 and online at copyfax.com. Copyfax is proud to serve our local military.
Get the scoop on everything real estate. Join Brad Officer for Real Estate 911 every Wednesday afternoon at 2. Real Estate 911, live and local, answers all of your questions and is your home for everything real estate. Brad Officer is your local RE/MAX Jacksonville real estate agent and will inform you on everything that is First Coast real estate. Real Estate 911 with Brad Officer every Wednesday at 2 p.m. right here, WBOB AM 600. The Answer.
Stuck in traffic? WBOB has the answer.
Roads looking good this morning, along with the weather. Mostly sunny today through Monday, high 72. Mostly clear tonight, low 52 for Sunday night and Monday night. Looking for partly cloudy skies, low tomorrow night, 55, low Monday night, 65. A little bit of rain Tuesday through Thursday, 20% chance of that, with daytime highs about 75. 65 currently at WBOB, AM 600, The Answer.
And now let's return to Toula's tips for caregivers. Once again, here's Toula.
Well, welcome back to the show, everyone. We are so blessed today to have Chris MacLellan with us, Joni Aldrich with us. And guys, we are going to talk a little bit more about some of the things that you are thankful for. Joni, I really love that you focused on the depth of the love that we find that we have as we are experiencing caring for the loved ones that we have and the thankfulness that we have. Chris, we haven't given you a whole lot of airtime, so chime in a little bit with me. And then we do have Patty Shea, who's called in from Tallahassee. She, too, is a caregiver for both of her parents. But, Chris, I'd love for you to chime in a little bit more, and then, Patty, we'll come right to you, okay?
Well, it's going to be great to hear Patty as well. But as I was listening to your caller, and it was so wonderful for him to call in. What resonated with me is something that I write about often, and I really talk about on my show, Healing Ties. It's about love, care, and commitment, and how similar that is for everybody. Because when you get right into the nitty-gritty of caregiving, sometimes it might sound a little corny, but it really just does come down to love, care, and commitment. And I certainly understand there's many people out there that aren't caring for somebody but that they love, that they have some family baggage with. That happens, but love, care, and commitment, especially when it relates to caregiving, there's no boundaries when you look at it in that way. Right. And it really helps free us from what burdens us. And that's why I think we and Joni does it really well in her book. Advocacy does heal us, especially after caregiving ends. And that's why we're all doing this, because we all have a message to share. And even if one person is helped by our message, we know we've done something good. And that, for me, that's why it comes back to love, care, and commitment.
Yeah. And Chris, you're so right about that. We all have something that we have gone through that we're reaching in deep to pull out to be able to help others. And, I'm going to be the first to admit that I love caring for caregivers. I love caregivers, but doing this work does help heal me. As those of you who know me well know, I carry a tremendous amount of pain and grief in my heart every day. And I can't go on if I don't take that and reach out with it to help other people. I really do believe that it has done a work and helped healing my heart. You too know me.
Very much so. Yeah, it's important.
Yep.
Because we do have to heal from our caregiving experience, and that's not a negative. It's just a fact of the experience. It takes a lot out of us.
Yeah.
But we have to recognize that. Pardon me, in order to be a healthy caregiver, and that's why we do these shows.
Yep.
And I'd like to interject something here, if I could. Love doesn't end when that loved one dies.
Right.
And I think it's a very important message for everyone, because, somehow or another we tend to think that that's the case, especially around the holidays when we're going, oh, we miss them so much. But you do miss them. You miss the physical of them. But the spiritual of them and the memories of them are still with us. Christmas was always a very, very special time to Gordon and I. And I carry him with me all the time. So that's one thing I just want to let people know. It's okay to love after you've lost.
You continue loving. You never lose that love. In some ways, it's more profound than ever. That's all I know to say about that at this point.
Yeah, and can I add something to that, too?
Sure.
I am 2.5 years past my when Richard made his life transition, and Joni, it's so true. You don't stop loving. You just learn to love in a different way.
Right.
And then, and Toula, you taught me this in one of our recent conversations when we were in Orlando for the Florida Council on Aging conference. It's about soulmates, and we're not intended to be alone, and sooner or later there's somebody else that comes into your life, and it doesn't make what you had before. It doesn't take away from what you had before. It just reminds us that we're all human and we're not intended to be alone. That's right. You have to allow yourself the freedom to feel love and be loved again. And it's it's very gratifying when those opportunities come their way, but it's also unbelievable in a sense, and that's why it's so important to that connect with other people and share experiences.
Especially while you're in the throes of taking care of the person that you're caring for, to have someone else to talk about your experiences, to commiserate with, to share the joys of, to walk alongside is really the phrase I like to use, because we can't do it alone. Patty, you are a dear to call in today. I know that you've had some struggles in the last couple of weeks. You're not feeling all that great. Thank you for calling in to the show today.
Absolutely. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey, Patty.
Hey there. Yeah, it's been an eventful, I would say, month.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been listening, and I echo everything that you guys are saying. But when I was trying to formulate how to share what I am thankful for, and we have a great here in Tallahassee, we have a great program here called the Alzheimer's Project, and they just started offering nighttime courses because I can't attend during the day, and for caregivers. And so I've been taking their course every Thursday night, and just graduated. I got my little certificate and everything.
Congratulations.
Good for you.
And it was, it's a powerful tool for caregivers workshop. And, they asked you a similar question to what we're talking about today, was what was the one thing you gained from this workshop? And I'm going to say I'm thankful for it, and I'm going to, you weren't there, but I'm going to repeat myself, is that the perspective that I've gained from being a caregiver about life and the way I used to approach it before my caregiving days, so BC, before caregiving, and now as a caregiver, and as I hope to, once I am done being a caregiver, although you're technically never done, is the perspective I have gained about the way I used to approach life. I have, not that it was wrong, I don't think that it was, you can't approach life the way you used to now that you're a caregiver. You have to grow patience and understanding. You have to grow patience. I'm going to say that again because it's worth repeating.
Yep.
And there's a difference between being aggressive and assertive. I think before I was aggressive, I lived in Washington D.C. for 15 years. So if you're not aggressive there, you're not going to get the job you want, right? And so, but now I think I'm a more powerful representative of my parents, and I don't think I could have been before I became a caregiver, because it was just because I was advocating for me. And you talked about a little bit how the advocacy heals you. I think it does, but it also helps you, and I think it has turned me into a better person. Not that I was a bad person before. We all have room for improvement, but advocating on behalf of my parents as opposed to advocating on behalf of me and my career or the condo board that I was representing or my dog or whatever. But knowing that there's two human lives at stake on what I am, literally their lives are at stake.
Yep.
Relies on me to stop, take a look at everything that's going on. Okay, focus on the top three things and stick to your points. And it's allowed me, which I don't think I was good at before, but I am now, is you really have to know when to pick your battles.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was really good at that before. And now I know, okay, no, I am going to advocate for my dad a little bit harder because I think he deserves more therapy, this and that. And it's the perspective that I've gained in the way I approach life, not even when it comes to caregiving now, it's just, I'm so just, I can't think of the word. I'm just so understanding, and I'm fine with the way something unfolds now.
Patty, the music means the commercial's getting ready to start.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Stick
I
with
didn't
us.
hear it.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay. Stick with us. Come back with us after.
Okay.
You're listening to Toula's Tips for Caregivers. We'll be right back.
Toula's Tips for Caregivers is proudly sponsored by AgeWell Institute at Baptist Health, by the AARP, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, and by Claim Medic.
Hi, everyone. This is Toula again, and I'm here to tell you about the AgeWell Institute at Baptist Health. They're located in the San Marco area. I've been taking my own parents there for about 2 years now. Dr. Lance, the geriatrician on staff, has done remarkable things for both my parents and for me, the caregiver. They have great information, advice, and resources to help me. Dr. Lance and her team of social workers, dietitians, nurses, therapists, and the pharmacist have been so instrumental in helping me keep my own parents independent and living in their own home where they want to be. If you're looking for someone to either supplement the care that your primary physician is giving to your loved one who's 65 or older, or to perhaps become their primary care physician, I really encourage you to call the AgeWell Institute at Baptist. Their number is 904-202-4243. Again, that's 904-202-4243.
Have you read the new book, Love Stories and Timeless Tips yet? It's by our own Toula Wooten with Toula's Tips for Caregivers. Toula is a caregiver too, as well as an expert on caregiving. You can get it in paperback or on Kindle at Amazon.com. The book is filled with touching stories of caregivers taking care of their loved ones. Each chapter has helpful ideas that we all can use. I love that Toula included a Toula's tip with each story. Her message to caregivers is clear. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of your loved one. This is a beautiful book for all caregivers to read, whether you're a part-time, full-time, or long-distance caregiver, or someone receiving care. You should get the book today. Just go to Amazon.com. Search for Love Stories and Timeless Tips by Toula Wooten. Are you burdened with a loved one's medical bills and confused about who and how much to pay? Are there medical claims that have been denied? When you work with Claim Medic, they review your bills for accuracy every month and deal directly with your insurance company to make sure you receive every benefit that you pay for and never pay a bill that you don't owe. At Claim Medic, they offer free audits of up to 3 years of past medical bills to identify any past billing errors and recover overpayments you may have made. And their monthly bill review service will ensure that future bills are accurate before you pay. With Claim Medic as your personal medical claim specialist, you can focus on what matters most, the health and comfort of your loved one, and rest easy knowing that their medical bills are managed by experts who care. Ready to start? Call 888-988-2985 to speak with a specialist or visit ClaimMedic.com. That's 888-988-2985. With Claim Medic on your side, you'll never pay a medical bill you don't owe.
George, I got the job. Thanks, I'm so excited. They hired me on the spot right after the interview. It was that book I bought from Amazon, From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. The book really taught me something. It helped me to think about what the boss wants. Then it helped me with answers that show that I can do the job. I can tell they were impressed when I introduced myself. I just followed the simple outline from the Interview to the Paycheck book, and I know I won the job with my first 90 days plan the book recommended. They said no one else had ever been so prepared. You should get the book. It's on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle. It's worth it if you want to get hired. Just search for From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. Do it now.
And now let's return to Toula's Tips for Caregivers. Once again, here's Toula.
Welcome back, everyone. I have with me today Joni Aldrich, Chris MacLellan, and Patty Shea, who's called in from Tallahassee today. Patty is a caregiver for both of her parents. And before we went into the commercial break, Patty, you were just giving a few reflections on some of the things you've learned about yourself. Is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No. I'm just thankful that, I've started my 6th year as a caregiver for both my parents here in Tallahassee, and I don't want to repeat what Chris and everybody has said, but there's a lot of negatives about caregiving, and it is exhausting, and you feel isolated and all the, the regular downsides of caregiving. But I don't think that, I'm glad that we're focusing on, there's a lot of positives about it. And, the way I get through it is just to take this as a learning experience as a caregiver. And I think that I started my own company, halfway through my caregiving journey, and I think it has taught me to be a better business person, and it's taught me a lot of practical things that I don't think I would have benefited from had I never became a caregiver.
So it showed you some inner strengths that you didn't know you had. I like that.
Without a doubt, 100%. And, and it really, you have to be quick thinking on your toes as a caregiver. Yep. And I've always been quick and, whatever, but I think I've become nimble in different ways, and it's benefited me in my personal, professional life. And, the whole patient thing,
the whole patient thing. Let me chime in on that a little bit. And Joni and Chris, I'd like for y'all to do that too, because patience is one of those, we're all believers, fruits of the Spirit. It's one of those things that, the Lord says will come as a result of some of the tough times that you go through, the tribulations, the problems will build up in you patience and endurance and perseverance. I can say, for my own self, I thought I was a lot more patient than I was. I've had a couple of episodes where I thought I was kind of surprised at myself, where I've had to kind of take a step back and go, did I really just say that? I think caring for a loved one, particularly for an extended period of time, and in your situation, Patty, and both you and, Chris, Joni, day in and day out, you definitely have an opportunity to look at yourself and see those areas that need improvement. And, those are things that I've been thankful for. It's been something I've had to really spend some time thinking about and praying about and asking for more patience and to be able to give kindness and sweetness and give of myself physically when maybe I'm exhausted and just don't think I can. Again, the Lord provides the strength. Anybody else learn some things about themselves like that? Chris, Joni?
Toula, I think what you're saying is you realize your own humanity, because we are human beings.
Yep.
So dredging up that patience, being adaptable, accepting helping hands. And I think that was one, and I'm going to let Chris take over here in a sec, but, accepting help was one of the things that I heard from your callers, and I think it's particularly important in this year, in this season of giving. So, we're all human.
Yep. We all make mistakes.
Being a caregiver doesn't make us less human. It makes us more human.
It doesn't make us superhumans, that's for sure. It definitely, it can show you your flaws and areas for improvement. Didn't mean to butt in, Chris. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was a couple of points. Our caregiving cape can only go so far, but accepting help or even asking for help, it's a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. We seem to think that asking for help, that shows that we're weak, but it's not. It just takes a little practice, and I just wanted to. It's just so important for me to share what Richard taught me. It's the disease talking, not the person.
Yeah,
it's important.
When Richard was obstinate, it was the cancer talking. It wasn't him. And as caregivers, we really have to take a step back and say, that the person that you care for, they may not be acting the way that you are used to, and it's because of the disease. It's because of the illness. And we learn so much from the people that we care for because they want us to be healthy, because they know when we're healthy, they're going to be taken care of. and we kind of forget that in the midst of this thing called family caregiving.
Yep. Joni, any perspectives on that? You've had two long caregiving experiences with two people you deeply loved.
Absolutely, and I'll say this, please, to the caregivers out there, accept help when it's offered to you, if you can. If somebody calls, it used to drive me crazy, Toula, because people would call and they were trying to help, and they would say, well, I'm going by the grocery store. Is there anything you need? And I have to say that I was guilty of, in a lot of cases, saying, no, we're okay. But, remember that person gets a big blessing out of doing something for you, too. They want to help.
Yep.
They want, if they ask, they truly want it. So it's never, like Chris was saying, it's never a sign of weakness. And especially this time of year, if somebody calls and says, I know you're in a deep caregiving experience and you need to be with your loved one, what can I do for you? I'm going to the store, let me pick up something for you. Or do you need me to pick up a gift for someone? Say yes. That would be great.
You have to remember, too, that if you don't let them help you, you're taking away their opportunity to be blessed.
Exactly.
Very good. Very good.
Because God is going to bless them and their efforts to reach out and want to help you. And who are we to take away that opportunity? Patty,
right.
The holidays are coming. You're like me. You're caring for both parents. I know you're struggling right now. Your dad is in rehab. If you could have one thing for Christmas, what would it be?
Oh, boy.
Tough question, huh? You can have you can have about 30 seconds to think on it, because in the meantime, I'll answer it. And this is not meant to be a request for a Christmas gift. I know my hubby's listening. Oh, we don't have long. We only got 2 minutes. I like massages. They help de-stress me. Okay, Patty, you're on. What would you like?
I'll echo the massage.
There you go.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Just somebody to rub all the tension out of the shoulders and everywhere else you might carry it, right?
Yeah, down to the toes, the tip of the toes.
Yep.
Yes.
Joni, I know your caregiving experience is ended, but what do you want for Christmas?
Wow. Wow. World peace.
Okay. Well,
world peace for caregivers. How about that?
Okay.
Just, a peaceful, quiet time, and for everyone out there to really focus on the true meaning of the season.
Yeah.
I don't want gifts. Gifts, they're great. Don't get me wrong, but just being with someone that you love and hugging them and holding them, that's all.
That's what matters the most. Would you agree to that, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very much so, and it's without a doubt the most important part of the season is to be with somebody that you love.
There you go. Folks, we are winding down. The music means we got about 30 seconds to go. All three of you were awesome, Joni, Chris, and Patty. Thank you for calling and to share your heart. That's what you did today. You shared your heart and your caregiving experience. I am blessed to call you friends. Today, I am thankful for each of you. You've been listening to Toula's Tips for Caregivers. I'll be back next Saturday. Be blessed, everyone.